Hello everybody, this is Carl from Allegro Winery and Cadenza Vineyards, and I was just going to give you a short video, hopefully not too boring, about what your barrel samples are like for this Porter's Cadenza Wine Club shipment. So if you've seen the bottles, we sent you guys a sample of our 2020 Rosé, and then we also did a 2020 Cabernet Franc. They're from these barrels here, and I'll talk a little bit about them at this point. This first one is the Rosé. We have these two barrels here and the two right next to it. Cadenza is always done in barrels, so if you actually take a look at the number over here, if you can see that, the number for this barrel is 1312. My little code means 2013, and it was the 12th barrel that we got into our system that year. So it's a pretty neutral barrel at this point. The wine is barrel fermented in here, but you're not going to taste any oak character. You don't want really oak character in a rosé for the most part. So no sense in having a new barrel for this, but we get the advantages of having a barrel fermented wine, which is a more rounder wine, a little more complex wine, a different kind of mouthfeel that goes with it as well. So if you take a look at the wine here in the glass, it's kind of a cool, pinkish salmon color. It's right now pretty clear. We've stopped stirring these barrels at this point, so you're gonna have not a whole lot of yeast and other things floating in the wine. So this wine, of course, started off as a red grape. It's predominantly Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot are the three grapes. What we do is we crush the grapes coming off of our crush line, and once it gets in the tank, we actually bleed out some of the juice. And it changes the skin to juice ratio that we have in those tanks. So our red wines tend to be a little more concentrated because of this method, but then it leaves us with this juice. The method is called saigner in French. It means to bleed. So this is a bled wine. And so this juice that we put in these barrels, we fermented out. Now we have a white wine with red characteristics. So, when you smell it, you get some kind of bright cherry, strawberry notes for this wine. And then when you taste it, first thing you'll probably notice is lots of carbon dioxide. That will go away over time. And it's just got a nice, smooth, full palate because of the barrel fermentation. And there's a little bit of tannin in there too. So hopefully we can actually find some of that tannin out with a little bit of yeast down the road here, and we can end up with a very nice, smooth wine. That'll be a wonderful drinking wine in the summertime. What happens with our rosé wine specifically is they usually taste fine the first summer during bottling, which would be like this summer. Then they really come around the next year. So this should be really good in the summer 2022. So hope you enjoy our first rosé here on the Cadenza side of things. So, and yes, you may pour wines back into barrels after you taste them. We have alcohol on our side. There's nothing that's gonna be hurt by that. So let's go ahead and taste the 2020 Cab Franc now. So this is our barrel of 2020 Cabernet Franc. If you remember at all, what happened to us in 2019 was we got 0 Cabernet Franc, and that's because the cold temperatures following the 2018 vintage froze out all of our buds. So we had 0 yield coming out of that vineyard. So this is the first time since 2017 we've had really any Cabernet Franc to speak of, let alone a nice Cabernet Franc. So as always, we do all these things, all of our red wines in French oak barrels. This is specifically a barrel from Orion. It's one of my favorite producers at this point. We have about 4 different barrel cooperages that we use. Cooperages is the term for making barrels. And for our Cadenza, Senso, Miquel, and Orion. And I like Orion a lot. This barrel number is 1804, which means it was, of course, from 2018. What that means really is this is only the second use of the barrel. So yes, you might expect to have some newer oak characteristics in this because it's only been used once. But again, this is a really nice barrel. You can have crappy French oak barrels and really nice French oak barrels. This is not the nicest one you can buy, but it's really damn good barrel. And what that means is it's not gonna flavor the wine with oak flavors. Because if you wanna do that, you really ought to just be putting oak chips and stuff. I mean, it's kind of like when you're making, let's say you're grilling a steak, are you gonna, at the end of the time when you're grilling it, are you gonna go and put like ketchup on top of it? No, like you're trying to like raise the wine, like we're trying to make the wine taste better, and using oak chips is kind of like putting ketchup on a steak. So for us, using these barrels, what they do is they lift the wine. They make the wine better. And by better, it doesn't mean by adding oak flavors. It just really does raise the wine up. The French term for barrel aging is called élevage, which means like to levitate up. So Cabernet Franc from our Block 6 out in the vineyard. So you can see really nice, deep garnet color to the wine. Make sure I don't drop the thief. And just has a great purity of fruit to the whole thing. Just real classic kind of Cabernet Franc characters. Sometimes you get a little leafiness to this. And there might be just a little leafy, like a tobacco leafy kind of character to it. But just pure, straight Cab Franc character. And as you taste the wine too, you're going to notice, first off, it is pretty smooth. Cabernet Franc is not really known for a lot of its tannins. It's known really to provide some really cool aromatics in a blend. And so that's what this wine is really doing for us. The acid level is still a little high. And so over time, you know, the acid level will knock down and we'll end up having a wine that's much rounder and richer than what you're tasting right now. But at least the barrel sample you guys have gives you a sense of where the wine is at today. And this will stay in barrels for about another 12 months. That's kind of usually what we've been thinking these days, is we tend to pull them based on past experience at this point around March or April. And we will bottle it next year, probably by May or June. So sometime fall of 2022, you'll be seeing this, perhaps as a varietal, but definitely in a blend in your next wine club. So hope you enjoy these wines. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below on the YouTube page or email us, put them on our Facebook page, whatever you like. Love to hear what you guys think. Hopefully pretty soon we can get you guys back in here. It's so much more fun doing this with real people rather than doing it this way. So, but we'll hang in there. You guys have a great spring, and hope you enjoy these wines. Take care.